Hello and welcome to the training for the PSAT NMSQT. We're going to do things a little bit different this year. And as you can see, there's one video that everyone is going to watch. And then you can forward to the breaks in the video to watch the piece that is appropriate for you. But this first part is going to be for everyone. You should all have a coordinator manual that looks like this. It might be a little bit different on the front in terms of the handwritten piece, but that's it. So everyone then is going to be responsible for the information here on test date. What you're going to do tasks, make sure you study the script and you're familiar with it and that you're able to do these things on test date. If you have accommodated students, we're going to take a look at that and go through a little bit of that as well. So on the morning of the test next Wednesday, you are going to pick up your materials in the small gym. They will be available by 6:45. Please pick them up by 6:10. You're going to prepare the room, make sure everything is covered. There's no information that could help students on the test. And then you're going to put this information on the board. This is a little bit different for MP3. You're going to put some additional information on the board, but everybody's going to have this information here on the board on test day. During the test, then, you're going to admit students to the room. Please make sure you mark P for present, A for absent on the attendance list. And as far as collecting materials, we're going to do option 2, which is where they're going to power everything off. They're going to stick it in their bags, and they're going to leave their bags to the side or the front of the room away from them, and they're not going to access them at all until the test is done. Please remember that as you're seating students, we're never going to seat them or allow them to seat themselves. You're going to assign seats randomly, or when you can assign them as well, but they don't choose them themselves. We will provide seating cards as we've done in the past, so you can use those to get students in the right spots. They can arrive late until you start the actual time sections of the test. After that, send them down to the CCR office, and they'll see me, and we'll figure out what they're going to do. Remember that as you're administering the tests, you always administer the sections in sequence. You read them exactly. Never leave the tests alone. If there's any irregularities or questions, see me and we can go through those. And then there's a seating chart on the back of the book that we'll talk about later that you will complete as well. Students have to be given their entire amount of time, even if they finish early, even if they have extended time, 100%. First test is 60 minutes. They get 120 minutes. They have to be given a full 120 minutes and allow that time to expire. You're going to record the start and stop times on the board. You're going to announce remaining times. That will be there. Maintaining security. Again, please make sure you remain vigilant during the tests. Make sure the students don't use calculators, phones during breaks or during the test. There's good information. Make sure you go through all of this to be sure that you know what you're doing. Like I said, they can't allow their access their bags or book packs until the test is over. If students do bring a snack, they can't eat them in the room. They must need to step out to the pod as we do during the school day. Only something quick and a snack, and they should only be doing that one at a time, one or two at a time, as we've got hallway proctors out there that'll keep an eye on them. Same for bathrooms. If it's an unscheduled break, so that's during the test, student wants to use the restroom, let them know they don't get extra time, only one student at a time there. Make sure you collect their test book and answer sheet, put the answer sheet inside the book, and you're going to collect that. As I said, if there's any irregularities, make sure you see me, and I will walk through that with you, and we'll figure out what to do with that. In terms of accommodations, we are going to take just a quick look at that and how that's going to work. There are multiple scripts, and so that's where you're going to jump into the appropriate script based on what's happening. Standard time, as obviously students that don't have any accommodations, or students that have just breaks as needed. They'll use standard time, and you'll break them and stop the clock during those. Students with extra breaks, time and a half, double time, MP3, or we do have some students that have math only, which is a combination of scripts 1 and 3. We'll talk about that when you get to those scripts. If you're administering accommodations, you should have this page as well. This is going to talk about administering accommodations. There's specific information here and here on MP3 format and how to do that. But more specifically, I want to touch this key information here: definition of extra breaks, extended breaks, extra and extended breaks, and breaks as needed. So if you in your room have any of these, please make sure you read this information, familiarize yourself with it, and know how to administer that particular break. There is one student that does have a large print format, so there's information there for that student. And pre-recorded, that's the MP3, so that information is there as well. And pre-recorded. We have a couple of students that have human readers or scribes. Please make sure you familiarize yourself with the appropriate section here and know what to do and how to administer that. If you do have questions regarding those accommodations, please make sure you see me or Sarah, and we can help you work through that. All right, continuing on in your manual, everyone is going to start in the same section where it says begin here. You're going to read aloud information that's in the shaded areas. I understand the copies in some of the books, they may not be shaded anymore. You should still be able to see when you're ready to them say and tells you that. Make sure you speak loudly and slowly, especially in the fact that we have masks on now, and that makes it a little bit more difficult to hear. Remember, you don't read the information in the bracket italics. That's for you. Please be sure, though, that you have gone through these manuals and you're familiar with what to do and what to say so that you're not trying to figure it out on game day. All right, continuing on to the next page. Like I said, we're not going to collect their belongings. We're going to use option B, where they're going to put stuff away and be sure that that's out of sight and turned off. That's to their benefit. When you get to this part here, it says you're going to put the calculator on the desk, and you're going to walk around and make sure they do have an acceptable calculator. There is a list in the back of the book that we'll talk about shortly, and you can see what those are. Continuing on, we're going to continue through this. We're going to distribute the answer sheets. Make sure they do receive their own answer sheet. The majority of our students have answer sheets with a label on it, so it's got their name on it. Make sure they get that. We do have a couple of students who don't have a label because of when they joined our school, and we'll give you information on what those students need to do if you have that in your student in your class. All right, so this is what you're going to say because they do have labels. We're going to continue on to distribute answer sheets, and all students will need to complete that portion. Continuing through, field 1, they will not need to complete, nor field 2. That information is on the label. They do need to complete field 3, which is their address. We're going to skip field 4. That's on the label as well. Field 5, they need to complete. This is in regards to the National Merit Scholarship Program, and they're just going to answer that in terms of for that question. Field 6, their birth date, they're going to skip that because that 2 is on the label, embedded in the barcode. All right, continuing on, we're going to get to the student answer sheet instructions. There's a few things they're going to answer there, but they're not going to do all of that. So we're going to continue that, distribute test books. Here's this information they need to have: our school code, name of the school, address. All right. What we're asking for, too, is please make sure the students put their English teacher's name and their class period on the back of the book. For example, Matt Ruckel, period 4. We need to have that information so that we know we can return the books easier at the end when we get those back to the students. Oh, there we go. Sorry, going the wrong way. All right, we'll complete the certification statement, and then you're going to get to this section here about completing the test book information. For those of you that are doing the MP3, this is where you're going to be a little bit different. Your script is going to jump to page 94 here. There's a couple things that are different. Everyone else, you're going to continue here with me. Those students are going to fill out the form code. They're going to fill out the test ID. It's very important that they get this correct. They don't need to worry about field C with the serial numbers. We don't have those. But again, like I said, form code and test ID, make sure they've put those on and they've got that correct. Ask them to put their room code. This is listed on your attendance roster, so please make sure they get that 3-digit code. This will help us in the event that there's an irregularity. They'll have that information available. All right, so then there's some information here you're going to continue to read. There's some specific format instructions for scribes, human readers, and you're going to follow that information there. At this point, then, we are done with the pre-test, and this is where script 1 starts. We're going to take a short pause here. We're going to skip the scripts, and we're going to go to the after test, which is, again, the same for everyone. Hello, and welcome to the after test portion. Before you dismiss any students after you've finished all of the testing, again, please make sure that the students have all fields 1 through 8 been completed. Obviously, we did talk about we skipped some of those because they're on the label. But importantly, field A, form code, and the test ID field B are also important. Make sure you read these different things. If you did have any students that arrived late before you started the timing portion and didn't complete all the non-test portion, please make sure you go back to page 70 here and have them complete these fields as well. You're going to read this to the students after they leave the room. If you have any students that wrote in their test book, we do have a few students that have the accommodation that they can write their answers in the book. You're going to make sure that you do that before they leave. Finish up, make sure you check all of these items that you've the roster is correct, the testing room, nothing's been left behind. All of these things are then going to get returned to the small gym. That's where you pick things up. And the students are going to remain in the classrooms until 11:30 for standard time. Buses will depart at 11:45. With accommodated extended times, we do have some different timing. We'll get to that when we later in those sections. There's an overview of the breaks here, as well as timing information if you want to utilize that. This is the acceptable calculators page that I referenced before. And we continue on for other resource information that we've left in here. We do have the irregularity chart, so you can look that up for some things. Highlight a couple of the things that are a little bit more common, such as a student leaving during the test. If they need to use the restroom, we talked about time continuing. Students working in the wrong section and what to do, how to handle that. Those are some of the more common things that might happen during the exam. A noise or a disturbance. This is where it's important that we collect the phones or to keep the phones in their backpacks away from them because it's stored away from them. It's going to be not as big of an issue as it is if it's in their possession. Continues on with your regularity information. Illness is another one that we see frequently. Unfortunately, students not feeling well during the test, how to handle and manage that. And then the seating chart that's on the back. Completed part of it for you. You need to make sure you put your name, testing room code, fill out this information. And then here you can see they're asking you to put in the students' names because we don't have serial numbers, just so that we know where everyone sat during the exam. Thank you for working. And at this point, then you can, if you're doing script 1, just continue on. That's going to be the first one we'll talk about. If you're working with one of the other scripts, then you can fast forward to the appropriate bookmark on this video to watch the information, get the information for your script. All right, now we're going to move on to standard testing using script 1. So if that's the book that you have, then you're in the right spot. There's a couple of different timing options for this, and these are available in the information that is on the staff website. So here we're going to use standard timing. This is how it's going to work. Again, this is only a guide. If the students get done earlier, then you can go ahead and start. We've got 45 minutes here at the beginning, which you probably won't need, so you don't have to wait till 8:05 to start. If they have extended breaks, you can see the difference here is rather than a 5-minute break, they have a 10-minute break. It's the only difference. We should still get done in plenty of time to dismiss them. All right, script 1 starts here on the second half of this page. This is standard time. You may have students that have breaks as needed in here, and that's okay. They can take this, and they're just going to pause when it comes time for that. All right. We're going to continue on. You're going to record, once you get to the reading test, you're going to record the start and stop time in the book here. Make sure you post that on the board. Complete the seating chart on the back of the book that we talked about just a few minutes ago. During the test, students do need to remain in the room for the breaks. We unfortunately aren't able to just let them roam around. People are going to break at different times, so keep them there. Let them use the restroom, maybe one or two at a time, as needed. Make sure the monitors in the hallway know what's going on. Continuing through second and third tests, you're going to make sure you post those and give them the appropriate breaks. Test 4, section 4 is the math test with calculator, and then we have section, and that there. So we're going to end that, and then you go to the dismissal portion that we already talked about. So that's the kind of the brief overview of script 1. Thanks. All right, welcome to script 2. This is if you have students in your room that have extra breaks. And as you read earlier, that is breaks that are in addition to the prescribed breaks. So your timing schedule looks something like this. This is available on the staff website. It was in the email that was shared with you as well. And what you'll see is there are extra breaks, so the reading is broken in half with a break between, for example. These students should still be done in time for the regular dismissal. It only adds about 15 minutes with some extra breaks in there. So they'll still be able to get dismissed at 11:30 and on the bus for 11:45 departure. All right. Looks like this, script 2, standard time with extra breaks. So you're going to start with the reading exam, and you're going to move on to make sure you post the start and stop time on the board. You're going to make sure you post that. Again, you complete the seating chart on the back that we talked about earlier. Read what's in the shaded areas, and so there's your first break in the middle of the reading section, and then 30 minutes for the second part. So you can see that post start and stop times. When you get to the breaks, note that the students are going to remain in the classrooms. We don't have the space, the ability to let students break outside of the rooms because there's just too many of them, and not all at the same time. So that would cause too many problems. So keep them there. If they need to use the restroom, they can take one or two at a time. Make sure that the hall monitors are aware of that. Just the break between sections. We go into writing and language. Again, post start and stop times. Record it here. Make sure you post it on the board as well. We then move into section 3, the math test with no calculator. Same thing with posting the information here. Break between sections, math test, calculator. You're going to record that because we're going to break this test up as well. And then there's their break, and then they're going to have 22 minutes to finish. And then this is the end of the section. And then from here, you're going to move on to the closing after test information that we talked about earlier. That's about it for script 2. Thank you. All right, welcome to script 3. This is for students that have 50% extended time. You may have just that. You may have some with extended breaks as well. Here's what your time schedules look like. So this is for students that have just the extended time, and you may have some students, like I said, that have extended breaks as well. So extended time 50%, we're going to dismiss around 12:40 is when they'll finish. Again, this is just a guide to be used. There's 45 minutes at the start. You probably won't need that much time. You can start before 8:05 if your room is ready. And then you're going to get that 50% extended time. You'll see there's an extra break between the reading, and then there's an extra break in the middle of the calculator section. That's part of the process. The first buses leave at 11:45. These students are not going to make that, but we do have shuttles set up for 1 o'clock. So once your testing is complete, you can let the students go. If they have a ride, they can leave, or if they're driving themselves, they can leave. If they're going to take the shuttle, then they're just going to wait down by the main entrance, and we'll hold them there until it's time to board those buses. Now, you may have some students in your room that have, or you may be in a room that is extended breaks. You won't have a combination of the two. If you have a student with extended time, 50% extended time and extended breaks, you'll see the breaks are 10 minutes instead of 5, and that's the difference. So these are available on the website and in the email that was shared with you earlier. When we get to script 3, then it's going to look like this. Script 3, time and a half. Start with the reading section. You're going to record the first part. It's going to be 45 minutes. You're going to post the start and stop time. You're going to complete the seating chart on the back that we talked about. And then you're going to, students will have a 5-minute break in the middle, and then another 45-minute section to complete that reading test, and a 5-minute break between sections before they do the reading and language. Now, during the breaks, we do need students to stay in the room. It would be nice if we could let them out, stretch their legs, roam around. You can have them stand up, walk around, make sure their books are closed. But they do need to stay in the room because not all rooms are going to be breaking at the same time. So after this break, you're going to go on to writing and language, and then record that information, break, math test, no calculator. They continue then on, record that information, and 5-minute break, math test, calculator. This is the one that did 34 minutes, and there's a break between. So record, break, and then your second part of that exam. And then you will finish up the math exam, and then that's the end, and you'll proceed on to the after test portion that we talked about earlier. So that takes care of the information for script 3. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to script 4 for students that have 100% extended time. This only is a couple of you that are doing this, and this is a long day. Thank you for putting in the time. Hopefully you remember to utilize the hall proctors to give yourself some breaks and make sure you get some time out of the room. Here's what your time frame will look like. It is 100% extended time. So they do have readings a 60-minute test. We're going to take a break and then do a 60-minute to double that time. Writing and language is just one long session. Math no calculator, one session. Math calculator broken up into 2 45-minute sessions. This is a guide. There's 45 minutes here at the beginning. You shouldn't need all 45 minutes to get the first part done, and you should be able to start before 8:05. If you're ready to start, start. Because this time frame, as you see, has it going until about 2 o'clock. We do have shuttles at 1 o'clock. I don't believe you'll be able to get these students done in time. We are reaching out to the families to see if they're going to drive themselves, or if we need to arrange transportation, or if the parents are going to pick them up. We will be able to let you know that on test day to see what the parents have said. Once testing is done, you can dismiss them to whichever we have arranged, or they've arranged to do. This is available on the staff website, also in the email you received recently. All right, script 4 double time does look like this. So here's where we're going to start. Begin with the reading test. You can see here that broken up into 2 sections with a 5-minute break. As you proceed through, you're going to record the start and stop of the first and the second session. There's your break. When they do get a break, they're to stay in rooms. Unless they're using the restroom, you can let them go to the restroom one at a time, and make sure that the hallway proctors are aware and kind of keep an eye on things as well. So after that first reading test, there is a 5-minute break, and then a writing and language test. Again, that's 70 minutes. You're supposed to start and stop time. We get another break before they start the math no calculator. Supposed to start and stop time. 5-minute break prior to the math calculator exam. That's where we got 45, break 45, post the start and stop time, and then that's going to eventually take you to the end of the exam. The students have been told that it's a long test, it's a long day, that they should make sure they bring snacks to have during those breaks so that they can get through the day and don't get hungry. I'm going to tell you the same thing, and make sure you plan for the timing of your day. And again, utilize the hall proctors. That's why they're there, so that they can step in You've got plenty of time during like the 60-minute or the 75 or the 70-minute exam to step out and take a longer break so that you can, again, step away from the time. And that is it for script 4. Thank you. All right, welcome to 50% extended time for math only. This is a unique, interesting combination of scripts 1 and 3 for these students that have this accommodation. So here's what the timing schedule looks like. This is available on the website. The staff website also was in an email that was sent to you. So they have regular time, 60 minutes and 35 minutes for reading and the writing portions, and then they do have that 50% expended time for the 2 math no calculator and math calculator. And you can see the math calculator then is broken into 2 parts with a 5-minute break. Now, this is a guideline. There's 45 minutes at the beginning. You shouldn't need the entire 45 minutes to do that pretest portion. So you should be able to get students done. This has got us taken with the 45 minutes till 11:46, which means they're going to miss the bus. I'm guessing you should be able, like I said, get this done earlier, be able to dismiss them. They should be able to make the first bus. If it does take longer, we do have shuttles scheduled for 1 o'clock. Students can hang out here until 1 o'clock and take that home. So that won't be a problem with them. So for this exam, you are going to start, like I said, with script 1. That's the standard for the reading exam. And then we're going to continue to, you're going to record the start and stop time for that session. There is a 5-minute break then between 1 and 2. For the break, the students are to remain in the room. It would be nice if we could let them step out, but because we have so many rooms that are breaking at different times, we just need to keep them in the room. They can go out 1 or 2 at a time to use the restroom. Make sure the hall proctor is aware of that. So then you go into the writing and language exam. We're going to record the start and stop time here. This is where we then, for students with math only extended time, we're not going to go into this section, and we are then going to jump to script 3, time and a half for the math portions. So we don't do the reading sections here. We actually jump then to that, like I said, section 3, math test, no calculator. They're going to get that extended time. You're going to record it here, post the start stop time. Calculator, like I said, that's broken into 2 parts with a 5-minute break because of the extended time. You'll continue through. You'll record start and stop time for each section in here, and then it'll take you to the end. One thing I think I skipped at the very beginning here of this section is once you get started, you need to make sure that you are completing the seating chart on the back that we did talk about that earlier. So that is about it. Once you get to the end here for math 50% extended time only using scripts 1 and 3. Thank you. All right, MP3 format, script 5. I think most of you have done this before, at least somebody in the room has done this before. So you should be in pretty good shape. Things are similar to what they have been in the past. The app is uploaded to the Chromebooks. Students have been instructed to bring their Chromebooks and headphones. They cannot use wireless headphones. They have to use wired headphones. If they don't have those, we do have those available for them. We're going to make sure that we have some in the rooms for you. If they, for some reason, don't get to the rooms, they are available in the LRC. You can have one of the hall proctors run and get those for you. All right, here's what your timing schedule looks like. This is a 2-day exam. Thank you very much for doing that. So day 1 dismisses at 12:15. Day 2 is about 10:10. That's variable based on these opening sessions. We put 45 minutes for day 1, probably more time than you'll need, but I'm not sure. It depends on how prepared the students are with everything, how quickly we can get things going. It could take that time. Day 2, about 20 minutes. I think that should probably be pretty good. This is just a guide, so you don't have to wait till those times to start. You can start whenever you're ready. If takes a little longer, it runs over, that's fine. Day one, the buses are 11:45. I don't think these guys are going to make it. We do have a shuttle at 1 o'clock for any students that don't drive themselves or have a ride. Once you're done, and as long as it's after the 11:30 dismissal that everybody else is using, you can go ahead and dismiss those students. If they're waiting for the shuttle, they can hang out in the main foyer, or they can, take their own ride. Day two, then go ahead and dismiss them when you're done to their class. This is probably going to be somewhere in fourth period is where that'll happen, and that's fine. We'll run it that way. All right, so we're going to back up. You guys, as you remember in the beginning part, we stopped here completing test book information because there is this part A that says for pre-recorded audio users, you then need to skip to page 94. So we're going to do that now, and I'm going to catch you up in terms of that and how that looks. So that goes right here to script 5, the pre-recorded audio format. You're going to start the streaming application. And this is the one that says College Board, MP3. Should be easy to find. And the students will make sure we've got the SSD ID number information for them as well in that section. Because one of the things that you'll need to enter for them so that they're going to access the streaming, they can confirm it's got the right spot. This is information you're going to read to them, and you're just going to continue to work through this. Talked with Ben already. He's got a good handle on this. He's in one of the rooms, and Sarah is getting a good handle on this as well. She'll be able to help out with the rooms as well. Form code, test ID, it's important that they get these correct. They won't have a serial number to put on because that's something that we don't have in this test. You're going to explain the pre-recorded audio navigation. Oh, sorry, I skipped this. This is the room code that's on the attendance roster. Make sure you record that as well. All right, and continue on how to use the flash drive, talking about the procedure, and make sure that they're understanding everything. It really walks them through this pretty nicely, pretty simply. First section is the reading test. It's 120 minutes, so 2 60-minute sessions with a 5-minute break between. You're going to record the time for both sessions individually. You'll post that on the board. Make sure you complete the seating chart on the back of the book, and then you'll use that same seating for day two. Make sure they sit in the same seats. Like I said, between sessions, there is a 5-minute break halfway through that reading session. They do need to make sure they remain in the classroom during that break. It'd be nice if we could let them out. If they need to use the restroom, of course, they can do that 1 or 2 at a time. But we do need to kind of keep them contained because we've got students that are breaking at all sorts of different times in different rooms around the building. So like I said, then for the second part of the reading, you'll record that here as well and post that on the front board. Continue through that section. There's a 5-minute break then after the reading before they get into the section 2, writing and language, which is also broken into 2 parts. So you continue with that same process through the writing and language, recording first session spot and second session time there as well. All right, that is going to be the end of day 1 is after the writing. So you're going to collect their materials. You're going to continue through the script, and that is that section. Here is the end of day 1. So you're going to bring these back then down to the gym, and then I'll store them for you. On day 2, then, you're going to pick up your materials in my office. We don't have as many rooms, so we'll just pick them up there. Make sure you admit students, prepare them, and then kind of go through these pieces of information as well. On day 2, then, you're going to be giving the math no calculator portion, and that will be just 1 session, a 50-minute session, start and stop times again, a break before, then they take the session 4, math calculator, broken up into 2 sessions with a 5-minute break. So there's 45 minutes, 5-minute break, the second 45 minutes, and then that's going to take you to the end of the test. And then you'll go back to the after the test portion that we talked about in the first session. So that is it for script 5 and MP3 format. Thank you.